but mastery is that constant, perpetual pursuit for excellence. Welcome back to another episode of The Impact Show. Todd Durkin is here, and I am at the Mecca, Fitness Quest 10, and I just got an epic workout in. There's nothing like getting a great workout in and just feeling like $1,000,000, and that today is the Impact Q&A. Man, we got some great questions that are flowing in here, so thank you for the questions. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get to this question in just a moment. I want to first thank you all who are writing these incredible reviews on iTunes. We're blowing up the iTunes universe with positivity, and I think iTunes is probably like, what is going on down there with the Impact Show? So thank you for all you Mind Right maniacs who are absolutely awesome. Love you guys dearly, globally. So keep up the great work. Matter of fact, I'm going to share one of these reviews I saw here yesterday. And matter of fact, if you continue to write these great reviews, I'm going to highlight and spotlight you as well. This is from Lizzie M. Spartan. I like that name, Lizzie M. Spartan. Here's what she says. I came across Todd Durkin's Impact podcast by accident when I was doing research for work. Ooh, she got distracted at work. Good job, Lizzie. As I listened to the Iron Sharpens Iron episode on my early morning run, I was hooked. I picked it up and went faster and faster and faster. No, she really didn't say that. Todd brings a combination of inspiration, powerful stories, and actionable items to up-level your whole life and get your mind right. I'd recommend this podcast to anyone interested in fitness, wellness, business, personal development, and leadership. Lizzie, thank you so much for that review. I really appreciate you writing that, sharing that, and I'm glad that I could be part of your early morning runs and help you sharpen your life as well. So keep those reviews coming, guys. I really enjoy them. Hey, today's question, this is a Impact Q&A episode, comes from my man, Coach Justin Kegley, Coach Keg on Instagram, Movement Fitness, Rockford, and what he shares here is, here's the question. In your career, what have been some of your favorite moments? What have been some of your favorite moments? And here's how I'm going to just answer this, is there's different stages of life. I call them the 5 stages of life. I learned this from Dave Ramsey many moons ago, and it made me think deeply about the stages of life, because when Justin asked about, like, what have been some favorable moments, there's different phases and stages for everyone, regardless of where you are in life. Now, here's the stages. When you're in your 20s, you're in a learning stage. When you're in your 30s, you're in an editing stage. When you're in your 40s, you're in a mastering stage. When you're in your 50s, you're in a harvesting stage. And when you're in your 60s, you're in your guiding stage. So let's just touch upon each of these. First, learning. When you're in your 20s, you're in a learning stage. I think back in my 20s, I'm like, man, I lived in, I think, 13 cities in 5 years trying to learn everything I could about body work and really diving in simply to get off of Vicodin because of my serious back injury that I suffered when I was in Aix-en-Provence, France, playing for the daunted Can Iron Masks. Has anyone ever heard of the Can Iron Masks? I didn't think so. That's where I actually suffered my serious back injury, and that was the start of changing my dream of playing in the NFL to then saying, what am I going to do next? But my 20s was spent with gurus and healers and getting certifications and advanced degrees and my master's degree. So my 20s were spent in learning. If you're in your 20s today, it's a learning stage. Don't feel you have to have life figured out when you're 23 years old because you just graduated from college and you don't know what you're going to be doing with your life. I want you to make sure that you really invest in going out and learning as much as you can. Take jobs that are going to really allow you to grow. And yes, many times life is hard, but you want to continue to grow your toolbox and learn skills that will ultimately allow you to live your purpose, whatever that's going to be. In your 30s is the editing stage. The editing stage. Now, that doesn't sound too fun because editing is like you're correcting. But what happens is in your editing stage is you go out and you learn all this stuff, you make some decisions and choices, then you start to edit, you start to correct possibly what you've already done. So for me, I started my business just shy of 30 years old, and although there were a lot of accolades and awards and successes, obviously you're constantly editing of how you're doing things, right? So maybe if you are in your 30s, you're like, okay, am I maximizing my potential? Am I doing everything that I need to be doing? And if not, then you need to edit or course correct what you're doing there. In your 40s, you start to master what you've been working on. I believe it's Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000 hour rule, the 10-year rule. It takes about 10 years to become an expert at something. Y'all know from my first and second episodes of Impact that the M stands for what? Very good. I heard y'all. Master your craft. Master your craft. And mastery takes time. Now, in today's day, you can expedite the mastery process, but you still have to put your time in. You still have to make mistakes. You still have to course correct. The bottom line with any of these stages, remember this, is you can't skip stages. You can accelerate, so it doesn't mean you have to be in your 40s to master, your 50s to harvest, or even your 60s to guide, but you can't go in your 20s and go right to a harvesting and guiding stage. You have to go through the stages, and that's the important aspect today. When Justin asked the question about what have been some of your favorite moments, part of my favorite moments, the reason I share this about the 5 stages is because part of them happened in my 30s when I was editing. And you look at some of maybe the things that you've achieved and accomplished on that. Some of my favorite aspects of my career of spanning over 25 years isn't just necessarily now where I'm kind of in the mastery stage, meaning I'm trying to really master my craft. Mastery to me never really happens. Because when you're in a growth mindset, you're always trying to learn. But mastery is when you've done something so long that experience starts to pay off, and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to make that same mistake that when I was editing in my 30s. That now that you're in mastery, you say, I'm going to do things a little bit differently, or you proceed a little bit slower. You still have to take risk if you want to be successful. You can't be high on your horse and just sit back and relax. But mastery is that constant, perpetual pursuit for excellence. Let me repeat. Mastery is that constant, perpetual pursuit for excellence. That's the 1% better everyday philosophy that you can't say, hey, I'm a master now. I'm a guru now. No, that doesn't happen. It's that constant growth mindset. In your 50s, it said that you start to harvest. So all of your hard work and learning and editing and mastering, you start to harvest. Now, here's the danger of harvesting. Harvesting is not sitting back and relaxing and letting it all come in. I believe in the harvesting stage, regardless of how, quote, old you are, you've got to continue to work. You've got to continue to give back. You've got to continue to learn. You have to continue to edit and course correct. You continually master that craft. And then through 30 plus years of experience, I believe then you can start to harvest what you've worked so diligently on. And I think that right there is masterful into itself. And lastly is guiding. And now it's said here, and when Ramsey shared many moons ago about guiding in these different stages, I don't think there's a set age per se that you have to be in your, quote, 60s or 70s to guide. But I do believe this. You do have to first go through a big, massive learning phase, and sometimes that means you lose money, you lose a business, perhaps you lose many relationships in business. You edit, you master, you harvest, and then you guide. And even now, I see myself kind of in this guide aspect, where even like in my mastermind, where I guide many fit pros who are trying to really go through these different stages. I love being a guide. Know this. Where are you at in your stage? Because I think early on in the stage, you look at yourself as, quote, the hero. And later on in your stage, you think about yourself as the guide. Right? You've got that guide, that mentor aspect. And I know I find a lot more fulfillment now in guiding someone else to success and allowing them to see their full potential inside of them than me necessarily fulfilling even my own personal, accomplishment or accolade. And I think that comes in the guide stage of life. So I answer that question by giving you the stages of life. I want you to reflect and think about. And if you're in your 20s or your 30s and you're learning and editing, it doesn't mean you need to wait till you're in your 50s or 60s to get to the harvest or guide stage. What it does mean is you got to continue to work your butt off. And you got to continue to learn. You got to continue to surround yourself with great people and mentors that can help you edit and course correct. And then you start to master. You continue to work, and you have all this experience under your belt. And then you're going to see some days where the sun is shining and there's some harvesting along with the reaping and the sowing. And then, of course, the guidance stage is one where you can give back and you can make a difference in other young folks' careers. Maybe you're listening in today and you're a young professional in any industry. You're an entrepreneur. You're a high performer, and you're at one of these stages now. I just encourage you to continue to work, continue to give back, because when I look back over my favorite moments, I reflect upon the stages of life, the stages of your career, and what that means. And although life is always full of great achievements, sometimes it's in the failures, the setbacks, the adversity that one faces in any one of these stages that ultimately defines the man or the woman that you become. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I know I got pretty deep on you right there, but I think the 5 stages of life is something that is a great way to look at the outcast of like how you see life, about where you're at, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or your 60s, or older. I want you to think about how you continue to get better. And I hope that the Todd Durkin Impact Show, this podcast, is a vehicle for that. That's why I started this show in August of 2019, was to give back. And hopefully through even a short Impact Q&A section like today, this episode, where you glean one aspect of, you know what, I'm in the learning stage and I'm so hungry to learn, or I'm in the editing stage of life. That's okay. Wherever you're at's okay. Or you're near the mastery stage. But because here's what I've learned in any of these, you're never fully content with where you're at. You're always trying to get a little bit better. But when you reflect upon where you've come, realize that sometimes those adversities, those ultimately set you up for where you are today. So get out there and smile. If you're out for a walk, you're working out right now, I want you to smile. I want you to repeat positive affirmations, and I want you to say yes, and I want you to scream, and I want you to pump your fist and have the enthusiasm and the energy today to be your absolute best self. Thank you for the question again. Keep the questions coming. Just go to ToddDurkin.com and you can ask any of your questions at any time, or you can always Instagram DM me. Just DM me on the Instagram. And of course, as always, I always appreciate you sharing this episode. If you find any value in today's episode, please don't hesitate to share it on your social media, in an email, and if you feel inclined, if you can spend just a couple minutes on giving a 5-star rating and a review, it really helps us move the needle. Don't forget, train hard, eat right, live inspired, and create impact today.